this duo has built an AI real estate agent that has become the nightmare of many real estate agents out there, because surprisingly AI one is performing better than the lazy original ones.
People are not interested in reading newsletter. Be it 3 minutes or 30 minutes, they don't really give a shit about it. I have written books myself, but come on camera, I could be live here and say that like books become stale very very quickly.
Quality. AI is not there to replace my work, AI is there to augment my work.
Today, we are joined by the brilliant minds behind Unwind AI, the go to guide for building AI agents and rack system that has been inspiring thousands of AI enthusiasts, including myself. And this duo has built an AI real estate agent that has become the nightmare of many real real estate agents out there, because surprisingly AI one is performing better than the lazy original ones. So I would like to welcome Shubham, Saboo, and Gargi Gupta on the AIBROS Show. How are you guys doing?
Very
We're
good.
good.
How are you guys?
We
Doing
are
good.
going good. Very good. So I think I'd like to start the conversation uh, with the introduction of Unwind AI. How does what is it exactly? Firstly, what is Unwind AI? What are you guys focused on, and how it all began? Please guide us through the process.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And to unwrap this, I need to go a little bit further in the past, right? How it all
Yeah.
started.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, almost 4 to 5 years ago, it all started when I took up the job of writing my first book on GPT-3 in
Mm-hmm.
collaboration with Orally and OpenAI. And even that
Mm-hmm.
story is very interesting. How even I got my how did I even got my first book? So it all even
Mm-hmm.
started during my college days, where I got into the practice of writing notes based on like whatever I'm learning, and I could not care who is reading that and where is it going. But my idea was like super simple to keep it structured for me to reference it in the future. Let's put it on Medium. I would not care like who is reading it or not. But turns out
Mm-hmm.
I got into the practice of putting those notes on Medium almost on a daily basis. Whatever I learn in the class, I would put it there. And at that around that time when I was completing my master's, GPT-3 got launched, and I was one of the lucky few individuals who got an early access to it. This was the time when OpenAI had a private beta group in Slack.
Mm-hmm.
I got access to GPT-3. I was already in the practice of writing those tutorials slash blog posts. I started creating tutorials and examples using GPT-3. Today, it might seem like super, super basic, somebody a 2 year or 5 year old would do, but at that time, that was magic, right? That time,
Yeah.
I was
Obviously.
creating examples, right? Like generating email using a large language model or a copywriter, stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
at that time, people
Mm-hmm.
were really interested. Oh, how could something like that happen? Because before that, people would have just seen something like BERT, where it can classify, it can predict stuff, and all that. But
Mm-hmm.
generation was very new at that point in time. So I started doing that. I started putting a lot of examples and tutorials on GP3. They started getting a lot of traction. I started then talking about prompt engineering, all that stuff. It was all organic.
Mm-hmm.
There was no intention behind building a public brand, behind building any newsletter, a
Mm-hmm.
platform, let alone writing a book. But an orally editor somehow came across my blog. She really liked it. And what she really liked is the simplification of overly complicated technical concepts
Mm-hmm.
into a language that people can relate to. So that's how I
Mm-hmm.
got the offer to write my first book. And when I wrote my first book, uh, on GB3. It was in collaboration with Orally that got me set up with a process of how to think about writing a book, and a year-long journey started from there onwards. And the book was one of
Mm-hmm.
its for Orally even, right? They have been used to writing technical books, but this was very first time when we had a technical plus a business manual. So the book would cover the technicalities of building AI products using GPT-3 at that time. And this was 2020, 2021, when all these things were very new. GPT-3 was the only model that we had, and people were going crazy over that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, So that was a technical plus business manual. We went ahead and got a lot of business case studies out of it, like the story and the behind the scenes of building the GP3 API, behind the scenes of GitHub Copilot, stories of startups building with the OpenAI API, stories of startups who even failed, the creators outlook, the finance outlook, and all that stuff. So the journey began from there. That's the root of Unwind AI and what you see today on LinkedIn and Twitter that I've been doing, right? And when that began, I kept this because when you write a book, it's a journey. So it does not stop with just completing the book. Then you promote it, then you put it out there.
Mhm.
You become a
Mhm.
face for that niche and for that topic, right? So I
Mhm.
started talking more about those topics. I got intensively into large language models, generative AI space, started putting posts out
Mhm.
there on LinkedIn, Twitter. I started creating more blog posts and bite-sized content. And out of
Mhm.
that, and around that time is when I met Gargi, and I started sharing what I've been doing with the AI stuff. And she was not from the background, but she got really curious and interested in that. And I just like pitched the idea. Would you be interested in starting a newsletter with me? I could really use some help for somebody who is curious. I do not really care about what background you come from because this was very inviting. And if you look at all the stuff that I've done in the past, the idea of everything is to invite people from all the backgrounds or people
Mhm.
irrespective of their background to come and be a part of this AI ecosystem. And that's
Mhm.
what GPT-3 has led the foundation for. Now anybody and
Mhm.
everybody could just come in, write prompts and build amazing stuff. So English has
Mhm.
become next coding language or the new coding language at that point. And Gargi is
Correct.
a prime example of that. She moved all the way, had no technical background, no AI background. Now she runs the AI, Unwind AI newsletter. That's one of the most popular newsletters, right? So Unwind AI at that point started as a newsletter where the idea was to deliver daily news to our AI audience, to people who are interested in AI, to AI developers. And over time, it has pivoted to become a full fledged AI platform. Today, Unwind AI is not just a newsletter, it
Mhm.
delivers daily news, it features tutorials. Complementary to that, we have an open source, awesome LLM apps repo. I'm very proud to say that, like, we have launched that 8 months ago, and even today, like by today, it has already gotten like what 27,000 stars. Have been trended on GitHub for almost 8 to 10
Yeah.
times number one.
Mhm.
So people have been really liking the direction that we have been taking, the content that we are putting out there, and slowly and organically, NYNDI pivoted to become a platform for AI developers to come and learn about the latest AI stuff.
Mhm.
What differentiates
Mhm.
Unwind AI from any other educational platform or any other AI newsletter is we don't just deliver news. What we want to deliver is value to real value to AI developers. So you can get the news, you can learn about the latest AI stuff. We post all things that's cutting edge, and we try to simplify the most complex thing in the simplest way possible. So that's Unwind AI, guys.
Mhm.
Kagi, would you like to add something?
Yeah, so talking about this journey, like Shubham mentioned, that while he was writing the book, we both met. And me coming from a completely non technical background, I have my education in corporate law and finance.
Exactly.
So the first
Mhm.
time he introduced me to GPT-3, and I am
Mhm.
writing something, it is giving me some output. I was mind blown. I felt like I was talking to someone else on the other end. And
Mm-hmm.
then he also got early access to Dali, and he was
Mhm.
like generating images from prompts. I was really mind blown. I was very curious about this space. So I think there are like two kinds of people in career. One is who know what they want to do from the start, and then the second is there is like a trial and error thing. They do,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mhm.
realize, oh, this is not for me. I was like the second kind of person. So
Mhm.
in corporate law and finance, I was not very happy with the jobs I did. Then when I met him, I got extremely curious about this space. He would introduce me to like new tools that were coming.
Mm-hmm.
And when he pitched me the idea
Mhm.
of AI newsletter, that sounded like just the thing to do because there were many people like me who did not know
Mhm.
a lot about this AI space, and it was very clear that it's going to explode. So
Hmm.
yes, I was right in there. Like let's start this. And
Hmm.
the good thing for me was we started Unwind AI as a newsletter for people who are not from technical background or who do not
Mm-hmm.
know much about generative AI.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
while starting Unwind AI, it was a learning phase for me. It was a learning curve for me, but not very steep because I was building it, but I was also the audience. So it
All right.
was a nice
Exactly.
introduction into that space. Slowly, we realized that no, it has to go daily, not just weekly, because there are a lot
Hmm.
of things coming on the daily basis. Then
Correct.
midway into the journey, we realized that we have to focus on AI developers because that is
Hmm.
actually a very, very big audience that is not being served. There were
Hmm.
so many newsletters coming, but they were focusing on people like me only.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
we should start pivoting to AI developers. Then we started publishing newsletters for them. Then after some time, we realized that okay, we have started doing the newsletter thing. Now we need to teach them how to use a particular framework, a library.
Okay.
Something new has come.
Hmm.
We told them okay, but how to use it? That's when the tutorials part started coming. So
Mm-hmm.
slowly,
Hmm.
slowly things have built when I
Hmm.
sense.
Hmm. This story sounds really interesting. I would say it introduction of AI from Shubham to Gargi became a canon event for Gargi, and this is how Unwind AI happened. Is that the thing, right? This is the thing. So I actually had this in my mind that as Shubham mentioned in the start that he was trying to deliver the content in a way that it is easily digestible to those who are not from the technical background as well, right? But now you guys are more focused towards the developers, the AI developers, or the more technical people out there. So how is this balance going to work? Like, let's say the if someone from a non-technical, if someone who is not from a non-technical background who wants to follow Unwind AI, what perks are they getting out there? How are they going to extract the knowledge, or how are they going to understand AI through Unwind AI? Do you have some sections in Unwind AI still up there for the non-technical people?
Okay, so we have been clearly saying this now that Unwind AI is for AI developers.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that people who have absolutely no knowledge or
Hmm.
absolutely no technical background will be able to understand the kind of content that we are posting.
Hmm.
So
Correct, huh?
there are like already hundreds of newsletters for that audience. So, for
Hmm.
example, there's Rundown AI, it's the most famous right now. So, you can
Exactly.
Correct,
maybe
correct.
start with that. And then Unwind AI is for developers, people who are not just the end users of AI, but also they are building with AI.
Hmm.
So, that is our focus right now.
And I would like to add to
Okay.
that. So it wasn't an easy decision to come up with a newsletter that's catered for AI developers, right? Then
Hmm.
it seems like you're picking up a very specific niche and purposefully cutting up biggest mass of your audience. Especially
Correct,
for
correct.
me, started with the goal, and it's still the goal, right? It's still the goal of bringing people irrespective of their background into the AI ecosystem. And I'll tell you how this has all worked out, right? If you've seen the progression of AI and the evolution of AI in the last 5 6 years, English has automatically or naturally become the language of AI, or new language for coding, right? Even
Hmm.
all the agent frameworks that you see, all the new languages that are evolving, they're becoming more centered towards English. Like if you see the evolution from
Hmm.
C, C++ to Python, it's become more English focused, English centric,
Yeah.
uh, more easy for a human to read and understand and comprehend compared to what we had. In the lines of code
Hmm.
have been significantly reduced. So
Correct.
idea
Yeah.
here is to create, again, going back to the open source repository that we have around 50 plus AI agent and RAG tutorials. But the
Hmm.
purpose of that is not to build or serve a very complex production grade application, not to give that to people, to give a blueprint to people, to give an idea to people of how to create quick prototype, how to visualize your ideas. Like you might have like certain ideas, but this is how you build it in simplest way possible using abstract
Hmm.
frameworks which are out there,
Hmm.
but then guiding
Hmm.
them how to use it. That is
Hmm.
complemented by step tutorials that we post on Unwind AI. So if you go to Unwind AI, there's an AI tutorial section. All the tutorials are posted in a fashion where you follow like five, six, seven steps, and then you end up with a
Right.
properly functioning AI agent application, multi-agent application. So that's the idea. It's the mix of all these things, and a lot of credit goes to the evolution of AI and how the situation has been played out in the last few years. AI in general has become a much easier field to get into for any kind of audience. Coding in general has become much more easier, and now we are entering the world of agents where again everything is getting centered around English as the language.
Yeah.
Now the
Hmm.
next
Hmm.
generation of programming language will be created for agents, not for humans. Now it is
Hmm.
getting much easier. You might have heard about these concepts or terms that's going around, which is like
Vibe
wipe code
coding.
and stuff like that, right? What
Yeah.
does that even mean? Like
Yeah.
anybody can come in and code new apps and stuff like that. Then we really sit at the intersection of all of that. We have something for everyone. Although the focus is AI developers, but somebody who is genuinely and curious and interested in getting into AI,
Hmm.
all the other newsletters are a really good start. But then if you really want to build something, if you really want to get some value out of it, that's
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
AI comes in. You get the
Hmm.
idea of what's happening in the industry, and it's not limited
Hmm.
to just like we don't just put research papers out there or hardcore research. What we put is absolutely validated and tested ideas of what you could really use. Like it's not research. It could be frameworks, it could be applications, it could be tools that you can go home and use today. When you read it today in the morning, you can use it at the night. That's the idea. All of that is complemented by open source code. And open source has also become a key theme for Unwind AI. Everything that we do for the end user, it's all free and open source. We don't charge a
Hmm.
single penny to our end users. We have been running this platform for 2.5 years. Our
Hmm.
entire code is open source. Our all the tutorials, blog posts, nothing is behind the paywall. So bottom line being, people from different backgrounds or people from non-tech backgrounds, now AI in general has become so much easier for them, be it coding, be it building apps, be it doing any kind of work. Now everybody and anybody uses chat gpt, Gemini, Claude. It's not a new terms like what it
Yeah.
used to be before, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
starting point has changed, the frame of reference has changed a lot. Right now people are
Hmm.
starting there. When people are starting there, you really need to give them something different. I cannot still tell you, oh, here are five prompts to do XYZ amazing thing. So here are five prompts to generate like 10 images. I don't need to tell you that. Right? Everybody else is telling you that. So to
Hmm. Hmm.
differentiate from the noise and to differentiate from what everybody else is doing and to really focus on value, it was a hard decision because it hinders the growth behind the curtain. Then you
Yeah.
grow slowly because the niche becomes much smaller.
Hmm.
But ethos has been like, okay, focus on real value, focus on creating real value, and it's a long term thing. I do not want to
Hmm.
become a million subscribers newsletter overnight. I'll give my
Hmm.
time, I'll give my efforts,
Hmm.
make it really the best thing out there, and it can grow whatever it can grow to in the next 2 to 5, 10 years, right? It's there to exist, right? It's not just a
Hmm.
1 year fling, right? I'm not gonna move from
Hmm.
AI to blockchain when it becomes the next cool thing, right? So
Hmm.
that's the entire idea.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
want to add another like personal experience here. So as I said,
Hmm.
I come from a non-technical background. I did not even know how to use VS Code. So I took help from Gemini. Like, okay, you have to guide me step by step on how to run this app. This is the repository. This is the entire code. How to do it. So genuinely, if someone is curious to do anything, they can come to Unwind AI and do whatever they want, because it's not just about reading what's there in Unwind AI. If you don't
Hmm.
understand anything, you just ask ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. There are like hundreds of tools out there. You just need to
Right.
be curious and feed that curiosity.
Hmm. 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 So, long story short, Unwind AI is for those who are genuinely interested to build something using AI, or who are genuinely interested to bring their ideas to life using AI, and not for those who are just there to correct their emails, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Got it, got
I
it, got it.
will get much value from Unwind
So
AI.
giving a base to the developers, I suppose that's the focus right now. So I really
Mhm.
respect that decision from taking cutting down a larger audience and then going for the niche area and giving value out of mm, that content. So your platform, I see that has a very unique approach, Unwind AI, regarding the newsletter. There is a 3-minute daily learning email which is sent. So what inspired this format? Firstly, I just wanted to know about this, and secondly, like from this format, what you have learned from, like what pattern are people interested in these type of learnings, and what is the takeaway from this type of knowledge sharing?
Okay. So, AI is a very, very dynamic and growing field. There is something
Mhm.
new coming every day. Unwind AI, we
Right.
started in December 2022 as a weekly newsletter. And we
Mhm.
very soon realized that weekly newsletter is not the format that would cater to this space. So, for
Hmm.
example, just this week, we had Llama 4, we had Google's agent to agent protocol, there was open source agent development kit. There was so many things happened this
Lot of
week
things
itself.
coming in. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now, if something has released on Tuesday and we are sending a newsletter on, for example, Saturday, the news has already gotten stale. People are over it.
Correct.
So this is very
Hmm.
necessary that we start sending it daily. And since it would be a daily thing, it has to be digestible. It would be something that people can incorporate it in their daily busy lives. So 3 minute newsletter was uh, a very strategic decision that ways that it is not heavy for a person who wants to know what's going on in this space but has to give a lot of time. So this is something
Hmm.
that while you're sipping your coffee, you can just go through it, skim like what's going on, and then maybe plan it out in the day. Like, okay, this is very interesting. I want to try it after my office. So this is very interesting. I would like to build with this.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's why we came up with the daily AI newsletter thing. And since it was daily, it had to be short, crisp, punchy, and on point. There was absolutely no margin for any fluff or unnecessary marketing style words like revolutionize and game changing and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the idea. And I think we have gotten good response with this format.
So what's the
Hmm.
Also,
takeaway for the what the learning part, like what you have learned from this approach? Because this is a new format altogether. People are watching reels and reading books, or the traditional way of learning is like going through the coaching centers or uh, going through the courses. So this is a new format altogether. So what you have learned from the whole story here?
Yeah, I can take that. And it's very interesting. Let's get this out, right.
Yeah.
No, nobody's really interested in reading a newsletter today. You are getting hundreds of newsletters. You might have subscribed to like at least 20, 30, 50 newsletters.
Exactly.
Nobody is interested in reading just a newsletter.
Right.
So you really
Right.
need to hone in on the user experience or the developer experience of that, right? Why would I
Hmm.
even read a newsletter or open a newsletter in the first place? So you really need to think about it from the developers or from the end user's point of view. You need to be in their shoes. And then we realize people are not interested in reading newsletter, be it 3 minutes or 30 minutes. They don't really give a shit about it, right? They don't care. So what do they really care, and what do people want to get out of it, and how can we become a part of that value chain or value system where we go in and give people an 1, 2, 3 simple executionable steps, right? Simple action items, actionable steps. Okay, you read the newsletter in the morning, but then you have very clear steps. It's simply summarized, or it's very simply put. We are not gonna flood you with n number of frameworks. We are gonna vet it from our side, and we're just gonna give you the most. credible and qualitative sources,
Mm-hmm.
qualitative papers that you can actually go and build with. Then you have actual tutorials that we put out there with code. So if you want to do, so it's like you are mapping the journey of how a developer or end user is thinking in his or her mind, right? In their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
are
Hmm.
thinking
Hmm.
about,
Hmm.
okay, I read this newsletter, I this news is very interesting, this framework is very interesting, but if I have to use it, I am not ready to spend 10 hours or 20 hours out of my job, right? And I have a
Hmm.
weekend I want to enjoy, I don't want to spend my weekend working on all this. Can someone give
Hmm.
me a map, a mind map, or a blueprint of using it in like 2 hours, 3 hours, 30 minutes maybe? And that's where we come in and we say, okay, yeah, here are the news, here are the items, this is how you use it. Like, you're actually mapping like those 1 2 3 steps of and owning in the entire user experience and developer's experience and developer life cycle, right? And the other thing, the other reason why this helps is this also creates and starts an iterative feedback loop or a cycle, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
it's like you go through these steps, now you're a part of ecosystem, now you are more motivated and inclined to give feedback on what's working, what's not working. That's how we learn, iterate, and improve. And that's the in summary and in brief, that's been the entire learning through our Unwind AI journey in the last 2.5 years of how to really
Hmm.
map this and look at Unwind AI as more than newsletter. So it's not just a newsletter, it's a complete AI platform for anyone who wants to upskill themselves on AI. When I say AI, it's not like generic AI, it's like actually usable AI. It's all the cutting edge stuff that nobody's gonna teach you about, nobody's gonna talk you about. Even the mediums of education has changed a lot in the AI world, right? I have written books myself,
Hmm.
but come on camera, I could be live here and say that like books become stale very, very quickly.
Exactly.
So
Hmm.
I don't see the point of technical books anymore. I don't see a point of very long courses that does not get refreshed. What I see the point of really today is execution because AI has knowledge of everything, right? You go to ChatGPT, you go to Gemini, you go anywhere, Perplexity, they know everything, right? You really don't need to have books for that. You really don't need to have courses to teach that. If I need to learn something, I'll just go search on ChatGPT, Perplexity, and learn it right then. So the bottom up paradigm, and especially in context of India, it's very important to put together, right? The way we are brought up, it's a
Hmm.
very bottom up strategy. You start with ABC and then you learn something, you learn words, and then you learn something. By the time you graduate, you might become a person who's capable of building an application or putting together a website, something like that.
Yeah.
But you really don't need graduation for that. If you're a 10-year-old and if I can give you, okay, this is how you build a website. So you start with like top down, like you can have a top down journey, and most
Mm-hmm.
progressive nations like US, Europe, they follow most top down, mostly a top down approach where you see the
Hmm.
result first. You understand the vision of what you would want to build, and then you can go in and build that and learn the things that's needed to build that on the fly. You don't really need to learn everything and then see, oh, how to make sense of it. The better way to do it would be, okay, I want to build this and I have to learn XYZ. That filters the noise. That way you're not learning because we are not a database. Like, we are human beings, we are smarter than that. You do not need to know
Correct.
everything, certain things, right? So even when you are doing
Hmm.
RAG, right, think of human beings as like RAG. Like, we need to be smart with our retrieval, right? We can't just like have everything and then just go through that. That's very old Oracle database. Now the times have changed. Like, we need to be vector store, more like a vector store, and we need to do smart and efficient RAG with our knowledge, right? So we need to be very smart about how we learn. And Unwind AI is our experiment and is uh, our effort to really shape not just what we do here, the way we look at education. We look at the
Hmm.
bigger paradigm of education. And if people can learn from it, if we understand the patterns, and we are still learning, we are not saying, and I could not say today, that we have really learned and mastered what it takes to do this. We are still learning, but I feel we are on the right path and we are on the path to build something bigger than what you see today. And this would have significant effect. Even AI would have significant effect going forward on how people learn and their AI journey or their learning journey in general.
Yeah.
So the motivation here is to educate people in a way that is the most effective for them to really learn something and build something out of it, not just to
Hmm.
make them a database or a, like human database, right, or a living database.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
adding
Hmm.
another personal experience I would like to add is that I think I am a top example of this top-down approach that Shubham talked about,
Yeah.
because many times he
Uh,
has just thrown me in the water and then said, I'll throw a tube at you if you're drowning. When Unwind AI started, I was like, I do not know anything about it. Like, no, we start it in 2 3 days, and I am there to help you. So coming from that, I actually remember like the first day I was thinking like, okay, I think I should maybe sign up for some Coursera certification to really understand what is this. I do not know anything about. No, you do not need to do it. You just start writing, just start. Reading a couple of news, you'll get into the habit. You will
mm,
start wrapping your head around
Hmm.
it. And till date,
Hmm.
I think now talk for hours about this space. So it's
Hmm.
just about you get into it, and you will slowly learn.
Hmm.
yeah, that's really nice. You are setting a example for others to who wants to be into the AI space, as you being from a different background, and then you start, as you said, you directly jumped into it, and then you started doing and learning things. So that sets an example for others, and everybody I think is interested nowadays to be in this space, and it will really help for others to give them a start. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You talked about uh, the time which you understood the developers or the end subscribers do not have, and that's the strategy. That is when the strategy came of 3-minute daily learning. So as we are talking about time, I'm really curious to understand, like you are operating Unwind AI on day-to-day basis, and you have been delivering content consistently, whether it is on AI agent or daily newsletters or in-depth blogs, and all these contents are really deep. So we want to understand how do you guys manage all those things, because it is a lot of things to juggle upon, and we see it to be on the spot everywhere. You are doing it accurately and in depth. How do you manage it?
It is hard. It is not an easy task.
Mm-hmm.
um, I do spend 8 to 10 hours every day on Unwind AI. Even Shubham does. Shubham has his full time job, and after that, he's spending a lot of time with me on Unwind AI. So it's definitely not
Hmm.
an easy job. We
Hmm.
are continuously scrambling on different websites and Twitter, for example, for news. Like, okay, this has come,
Hmm.
this needs to be tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
this needs to be
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow, this has to be released in
Hmm.
this. People are talking about this. People are confused about this. This is what we should write about. This is a concept we should clarify. So these
Hmm.
platforms are not just a source of news, but also a source of what people are talking about, what people really want to understand. So I would say my most amount of time goes in reading what people are talking about on these websites, especially Twitter, because
So that's the
that is,
sourcing part.
sorry.
That's the sourcing part. You're sourcing the information from different platforms and
Yes,
trying to
yes.
understand the gap, and yeah.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
mostly Twitter, and then there are like 14, 15 other websites also which I regularly scan through to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that I because I am the first filter, so I need not to miss anything major that has come, and that would be really helpful to developers. And then there is definitely AI tools to help me build anything or help me write anything. See, it is actually impossible to write newsletters, blogs, tutorials every damn day. So I
Hmm.
know that the AI tools like Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, they are all there to help me out.
Mm-hmm.
So my main filter is that I first need to know what's going on. Then I
Hmm.
would go through them in depth. Like, is
Hmm.
this actually useful or not? Does this particular thing deserve space in my newsletter? And then there is the
Hmm.
drafting part.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to know what exactly my target audience is, what exactly my readers want to know, want to understand, and then the drafting part comes. So I think the first sourcing part, as you said, is the most important, and
Mm-hmm.
that takes the most amount of time in my entire day.
Okay.
So, like, I just have a question that how do you categorize between the topics, whether, like, about what topic people are talking about what topic should is will be beneficial for the developers. Specifically, how do you judge whether a topic is being talked really amongst the developers or amongst the AI community? How does that work? Like,
It's
if
a, it's a
you are comfortable to tell
no,
it
Yeah,
from the
definitely.
author. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's a very interesting and challenging question at the same time, right? Because there is
Hmm.
no yes and no answer to that. There is no clear
Right,
answer
right.
to. And before
Mm,
even I answer this question, I would like to go back and uh, answer like how this all is even possible, right? So there's a lot of things
mm,
going on. Uh,
mm,
what motivates someone to have a newsletter, to have all these tutorials out there, work on
mm,
something else? The only way,
mm,
if I have to summarize what Gargi said, and if I have to summarize it by myself, like the only way to do it is uh, that you need to love what you do. So if you love what you do, if
mm,
you're genuinely curious about what you do, so the way
Mm-hmm.
it works for me is I'm on Twitter. I like to be on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn, and I keep looking at other stuff. And most of the times now, the way it has happened is like tables are turned. Right now, even if I'm looking or not, I keep getting a lot and lot of DMs. So there's always something
mm,
interesting for me to check out, to play with. And just out of genuine curiosity, I'll just go and check that out. I try it out, I
mm,
play with it. And then just strikes to my mind, oh, this might be good for my. And now this question is correlated to the first question that you asked me, right? How do you
mm,
differentiate? How do you come up with those ideas or topics, right? So me becoming a super user of all the applications, ideas, frameworks, testing it out, whatever I can. Of course, I have uh, whatever I can do, like whatever is humanly possible, right? Even I have my
mm,
capacity and so I
mm,
try it out, I test it out, and based on whatever I like and I find genuinely interesting,
mm,
that becomes the topic of our newsletter, or that goes into our newsletter. That's why we say when we say that the newsletter is properly vetted, it's curated. That's what we mean by that. Like it's curated by us. Like it's not some like random news that's coming up and we just pick the random top three and okay, that's your newsletter. No, that's not how it works here, right?
Mm-hmm.
uh, and even
mm,
for me there's a lot of benefit in trying all these things out because this is actually fueling my mind with the fuel that I really like, right? There's something that I would really like to know. Okay, all these new latest cool frameworks or tools and applications have come up, and when I try like one when you try 1 2 10 or 100, it really the neurons in your mind starts connecting things together, right? When you do it for a long time, when you do it for 4 5 6 years, you do it on a daily basis. So the key here is persistence, doing it on a daily basis
Mm-hmm.
mm,
regularly. That
mm,
creates that connection, that creates that understanding of okay, what makes sense, what does not make sense. And when you look
mm,
at the feedback, the second part of that is the community. So I'll talk about three things that makes all these things possible: persistence, doing it daily. Second part is
mm,
community. You put it out there, how the community is reacting to it. So we are more data driven with Unwind AI. We just like don't just throw off the newsletter and then just sit back and like look for another day's content, stuff like that. We analyze the response, we analyze the open rate, we analyze the click through rates, we analyze how people have reacted to each topic to understand our audience. So that's the community part where you are iterating on the feedback, we are getting the feedback and making sure your content tomorrow reflects that feedback or is a reflection of that feedback. So the second
mm,
key pillar is community. We talked about persistence, we talked about community, and the third one is clarity. Clarity
mm,
is the byproduct of persistence and community. You do it for a long time, you look at one, two, 10, 100 solutions, you'll realize some of them are replica of each other, some of them are wrappers, some of them are really interesting, some of them are very new. So auto classification pipeline starts kicking off in your mind whenever you're looking at the uh, new frameworks or new tools or uh, new models and stuff like that, right? It's like you have trained your model for last 5 years in your mind, and now you can classify, okay, this makes sense, this does not make sense for my audience. And the other input that's coming into that, and I'm talking more of it in like and trying to combine that with the AI terms and
Yeah.
terminologies here,
Mhm.
right, to make it
Yeah.
I guess a little bit. And then you're getting this new input, which is the community feedback, which is refining how you even think about these frameworks. So that becomes
Mhm.
the collab. So persistence, community, and clarity are the three key pillars that helps me decide what's the
Mm.
topic that makes sense for our audience. That helps us decide what should go in tomorrow's newsletter, and does it even make a cut
Mm.
or not. And that gets
Mm.
refined over time. The longer we do it, the better we get at it. And there's no shortcut. Like if you're starting a newsletter today, if you're someone who's looking to start a newsletter today or something like that, an AI platform, you need to put that kind of time. You need to put that time in understanding the content, going through the content, learning about it. Then you need to put the enough time to nurture the community, the audience that you have, talking to them,
Mm.
understanding what they want, helping them, right? You will only read my newsletter if I solve a real problem in your life, if I add some
Mhm.
real value to your life, even though it
Mhm.
is for free.
Mhm.
I'm sure everybody has a lot of good things to do with their time rather than just reading a newsletter, even though if it's for
Mm.
free. But if that
Mm.
newsletter adds a lot of value, you even pay for that. Not just you will read it for free, you pay for that. If
Mm.
you cannot pay, then you will be motivated to contribute towards that if it's an open source thing. And that creates a sense of community that motivates people to bring other people into the ecosystem. That motivates people to become a part of that. And that's the entire idea.
Mm.
So you put an example, an analogy where you mentioned about like you yourself are an AI model in training from the last 5 years. So in real, is it possible to do that? Then do we can we train some AI like that, and then it can start generating the newsletter in that case?
It's not about generating a newsletter, but it's understanding your audience, because when you are creating anything, not just a newsletter, any product for a target audience, you really need to step in their shoes. So
Hmm.
over the years this experience comes that okay, this is the kind of content my target audience like, this is something that my target audience does not like, okay, this is something that I really need to try on because my audience will be very much interested in that. So this comes from experience, from your personal experience, from numbers, and from the community feedback, like he talked about. So Shubham and Unwind AI's social presence is also pretty good on LinkedIn, Twitter, Threads,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when we are putting out any content, like for example a blurb of the newsletter, so the kind of feedback that we get on it, that also helps us to really filter what needs to go in the edition.
Hmm.
So a
Mhm.
lot of things come to play. There is our experience, that there is our community feedback, there is one filter where we actually try out things ourselves and then
Mm.
decide what should go and what should not go, and how much space does
Mm.
a particular item deserve. So yeah, a lot of things are there.
So
Mm.
that means a human in loop is required for
At least
delivering the content, valuable content. Because I know we all know that there are newsletters which are running on AI, and they source it through AI and they generate it. So that is where we are trying to understand why Unwind is doing so well. So definitely the efforts you guys have been putting into it, understanding it daily, taking the feedback and understanding those feedback. So definitely a human is required to understand all the sentiments and then put out the content which is
Mm.
delivering value to your
Mm.
audience.
there is like one more thing that I'd like to add. So as you said that there are so many newsletters who are running completely on AI.
Hmm.
See, it would be very easy for me to put everything about, for example, a framework, dump it into Gemini or Claude or Chat GPT and ask it for an output.
Hmm.
There are so
Hmm.
many crucial things that it would miss in the output that I think would be important for my readers to know. And that's where again
Hmm.
human input comes. So the quality, AI is not there to replace my work. AI is there to augment my work.
Yeah.
So
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm not going to rely on it 100% to generate content. I am going to use it, for example, at least right now, 40-50% in my
Hmm.
content creating work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Hmm.
this is where
Hmm.
my experience and my expertise will come. That okay, that this is something that Gemini missed or Claude missed in this output. No, this needs to go. Or for example, if there
Hmm.
is some anecdotal reference that only I
Hmm.
will be able to draft, only I will be able to put, or some expert opinion, only I will be able to give that.
Hmm.
So it is there to not replace any work. Right, at least right now, it is still
Hmm.
in the augmenting part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
Great. So let's turn the discussion towards the technical part, the the agents you guys have been building. So one of your agent, which is the AI real estate agent, that is becoming a hot topic now, and we have seen the reels circulating about it, and that's really nice to see that you have developed that. Can you explain us about that agent, what it does from end to end? Also, we want to later on we want to get into the details like how you have come up with the idea and how you built it up, the rack part and all. So let's start with the start, like how the idea came, and then we can start further.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting, like as you could see in our repo, we keep creating a lot of agents. And again, it's an organic process when I'm going through my Twitter or LinkedIn, my X or LinkedIn. I keep coming across new frameworks, new ideas, and just like suddenly click. I was looking at how I've been like creating a lot of multi-agent teams for a while, and what all creative ways you could really use multiple agents and to do what, right? So the real estate agent idea came up with me because we were
Hmm.
looking for an apartment on Zillow. And then we realized, okay, there are like multiple different websites where we have to go and really look for
Mm-hmm.
apartment, and it's
Mm-hmm.
very time consuming,
Hmm.
right? And we
Hmm.
don't really get the apartment that we really need. We have very specific requirements that we are looking for, specific areas, specific budget. Of course, there are filters that you would find on every website, right? First of all, there are like
Hmm.
5 to 7 websites. At least that's a problem in India. In
Yeah.
US, it's still like two, three, four manageable, but in India, it's like lots of websites, right?
Yep.
Then we have
Hmm.
very specific
Hmm.
criteria: what kind of home we want, how many bedrooms, east facing, west facing, which area, how much square foot, stuff like that. So you have all these requirements. You can of course select a filter, but then you select filter in one website and then you other website, another website, and you keep doing it. It takes hours and hours for somebody to really find an apartment or find a house that they would really like or that really fits the condition or that really fits the criteria that they have in mind. So
Mm-hmm.
there came an idea because again, and the bigger part of it is not just like, of course anybody could just think of, oh, this is a problem, I need to solve it. But then again, the connecting the dots part comes in here, right?
Yep.
Hmm. Hmm.
Have built multi-agent applications in the past. That's what we do on day basis, day-to-day basis in
Hmm.
our repository. We've used this tool
Hmm.
called Firecrawl that lets you very simply through an API call extract all everything from a website. So
Yep.
there came an idea,
Hmm.
okay, I can have a multi-agent framework where each agent can take in my requirement, think like a human. Each agent can act as a broker or as a human, and then I can scrape data from all the website or extract data listings from all the websites, not just one. Give them my requirement, and at each agent on their level, it's like a multi-agent broker team or multiple brokers working for me for free to get me the house that I want. So Can I have multiple agents working like a broker for me? I give them my requirement. We have all the data scrapped from all the websites, that like all the popular real estate websites. And when I give my requirements, it kickstarts or kicks off a process, a human-like simulated process where, let's say, even if you have to find a house in Mumbai or Delhi, you call one broker, then you call another broker. You have like five, six brokers, and all of them are working based on your requirements, and they keep calling you. And it's like, so it's a very messy process to really even find a house in the first place. Now, how can you simulate that? AI agents was the idea, and that's why it got so popular. Like how AI agents can really simulate the human behavior, take in your requirements, look at all the data points available out there, and give you the results. And all of this happens in 2 minutes. On the other hand, where it takes like a few days to really get to something that you would like in the first place. So
Yep.
that really changed the way people think about it. That really changed the paradigm of how you would go about these processes, which were super human centric. Right? They're like everything is broker driven. Like if you have to find a house, either you go on a website, and even those website has like a lot of brokers. In the end, you have to call somebody and you have to ask, okay, to show this house or to like understand the details and all that stuff. But that's like a super time consuming process. So automating that, optimizing that was the virality factor, or was the reason why this got picked up so much by the community, that okay, something like this which is so high touch point, which is so human focused, can be automated, at least simulated in an agentic environment. That really opens up a lot of doors on in what's possible in the future. So that really got excited. That really got people excited about, okay, now if you can do this, you can do a lot of other things, and just the possibilities are endless. So this really acted as something that opened the door for people to really open their imagination of what's possible with agents today, agent plus tools, right? So that's the entire gist of real estate, yeah, real estate agent.
Were we actually expecting that kind of response?
Uh,
Now I'm thinking.
yeah, we were not expecting that kind of response, to be honest. It just picked up. It was, and we had multiple such agent teams that got picked up. And again, it really reflects how people think about these things. We created an AI legal agent team, and we got a mind blowing response for that as well, right? And what it does, it simulates the working of an entire legal team through agents. So there are agent who's looking at your contract, there are agent who's drafting contract, there are agent who's looking at terms and conditions, stuff like that. So it's like multiple lawyers specializing in specific domain are acting as agents. It's all happening in a simulated agentic environment. It's all happening at a click of button. That was very interesting. Then we had an AI agent development agency. So let's say if you have an application idea and you go to a specific particular team, how would they even think about that idea? So they're like, each agent would pose as an employee of that company. And so let's say a CEO agent will delegate its work to a product manager agent, and then the product manager agent would create a team of a front end engineer agent and a back end engineer agent. So how it would like really work in a human life, agents can really simulate that behavior today. Being said all of that, you really need to have context of, and that's where again the education around these frameworks and tools becomes so important. That's what we try to provide at Unwind. Lead by example, right? So we are not telling you to learn about these things just for the sake of learning. These are really cool applications that you can build. And I'm not even asking you, and we are not even telling you to learn everything and then build it. Try building it. Here's the open source code. Whatever you don't understand, you'll find that piece in Unwind AI. You'll find that piece on ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, right? So that's the idea. This has become a very, very interesting space. Like you guys today, assume you know nothing about AI agents, assume you know nothing about the tools that's been used. You go to the AI real estate agent example. We have a tutorial on Unwind AI. We have the open source code on Awesome LLM apps repo. You can start using it today. Then all you need to do to optimize it for your use case or to make it work for your use case is just change the code a little bit. But you really have the baseline. You have the map, blueprint of how to build real estate agent that works. Same for legal AI agent team and any other agent teams, multi-agent apps, or similarly for RAG apps. You really have the blueprint. You have a tutorial that goes alongside it. It's all available, open source. It's all there for free. Idea is to provide the best in class education, education that is practical, that is experiential, experience driven, where people can go and build something for free. That's the idea. Do everything for the community, all open source, provide the best of what people can get. So it's this is like thousands of dollars of knowledge. People spend $5,000, $10,000 to do courses to learn about multi-agent app, and all I need to do is direct them to this open source repo, and this like 50 plus applications with open source code that they can go and start using it today.
So, Shubham, one quick question here. Let's say this real estate agent, we have a framework as you have developed it, and you have been sharing that in public through the GitHub repo.
Mhm.
So, is that going to be helpful to someone who is going to use it regularly? Let's say if some agent are going to use it, and so I just wanted to understand the real problems. Maybe like we have scraped the data from different websites and put it into the knowledge base of the agent, but how to update that data, and will that data, because we know that these property sites are getting updated regularly, so uh, how will that happen? Secondly, is the rag which has been created, is it efficient enough to handle all the things in the background? So what I want to understand in a crux, whether it is going to be, because I understand that your goal is to provide the knowledge, the base to the developers, and extend it to a real product level. But at this level, if you want to advise, is this product or is this repo good enough with these things which I talked about, or do we need something more to be done with this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I would like to say that like all the applications or all the examples that we put in awesome LLM apps repo are made with production application in mind, right? They are made to understand that people will use it, take this as a POC, and build production application on top of it. That's the entire life cycle or the value chain, right? So they are all made with a production grade application in the mind at the back. So the frameworks that we use, the tool we use, they're all scalable to production. And when you talked about fetching the data, making it updated, so that does not even become a problem because it all happens in real time. That's where these tooling comes in, right? We use Firecrawl extract endpoint. So every time you query something, it will source all the leads in that geographical area because you're providing a location. Let's say you need something in a very specific area of Mumbai. Let's say you need something in Bandra. You're giving that location, and at that particular point in time, it's scraping all the active listings in real time and then giving you an answer. It's all happening at the back end. You get like 100 listings scraped, then it goes through. Then the multiple agent goes through multiple ops to filter those listings based on your criteria. So it's like refinement across agents. Let's say you have 3 to 5 agents, they refine based on your criteria, based on the type of apartment that you would want, or based on your requirement. And it's all happening in real time. That's the beauty of it. Like that's what we have today. A lot of people don't know about it, and that's what we are trying to put out there, right? You can do all these amazing things with very minimal effort. It's all abstracted as a framework. So we used Agno for this, we used Firecrawl for this. Like it's not like I invented things from scratch and I do not need to, right? I can
Exactly.
build this thing, I build this thing in one day. And that's what is possible. That's what we want to show to the world. You can take these existing things, you can build it in a day. It would take me 7 days if somebody would come and ask me, can you put this in production for our use case? It's a 1 week job, which would used to take
Months.
months and months of time, right? And you would not even have a framework or baseline to start before. Now you're at least starting with an idea. Like all the real estate companies, brokers, agents are starting with the idea. Okay, this is how it could be done, and this is they already see the demo. Again, it all connects to our prior conversation that we had, like the initial part of our conversation, right? You're starting with the top and building top down. They've already seen the result of what is possible. They're not learning for
Mhm.
something that's in vain, right? They already know exactly what they could expect out of it. And that's what we are trying to do. We are opening the vision for people. We are creating
Mhm.
a canvas where people can really come and imagine possibilities which are endless, right? We are really opening the doors for people. And that's a
Mhm.
tough job. I would not say like these ideas would just like come like random and like I get one of these every day.
Mm-hmm.
But it's again an amalgamation of me being looking at a lot of different frameworks, me being looking at other applications that's been created, me being looking at the tools, the new models and stuff like that, and then really understanding and looking at different domains and the problems that those domains are facing, right? Because you can look at the
Mhm.
problem, you can come up with a solution. Most of the time the disconnect is how to really even like actually even go about solving that, right? Is it
Yeah.
even possible in the first place? That's the
Mhm.
disconnect.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
if you know, on the other hand, if you know about these like new and coming frameworks, technologies, and stuff like that, you can easily connect the dots. Okay, this is how I will do it, irrespective if I know how to do it or not. But at least I have an idea in my mind. This is how I'll do it, and then
Right.
I can start
Mhm.
top down. I want to do this.
Mhm.
XYZ things is what I need to learn to do this. I learned that very quickly in a matter of hours and build that thing in a day. That's the new paradigm of education. That's the whole and sole
Mhm.
purpose of education today. I'm constantly coming
Mhm.
back to education. I know this is an AI podcast. We want to learn more about Unwind AI, but the bigger aim is how we change the way we educate people is the
Mhm.
most important thing.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm. Right.
I've been through school and I've been through college, university.
Mhm.
I've never learned anything that I do today in my school
Mhm.
and college. Not to say that's not important.
Mhm.
That's important, but the way it needs to be done needs to be changed a lot. Especially today when things are
Mhm.
moving so fast. You
Yeah.
still can't like
Mhm.
spend 12 hours teaching the same things like history, geography, physics, science, the same way that it used to be. It needs to be more
Mhm.
experiential. It needs to be more experience driven. It needs to be
Mhm.
more building focused, like actually result oriented, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Output driven
Mhm.
rather than exams driven or assignments driven, right? Nobody cares about how much marks you get. Nobody cares about how well you do in an assignment and stuff like that. But can you build
Mhm.
something out of it? And that's the whole and soul pedagogy of Unwind AI. When you
Mhm.
read this newsletter, when you are a part of this platform, can you build something out of it as an engineer, as a student, as a AI professional or data scientist? Is
Mhm.
the key criteria or is the key reason why this exists in the first place?
Mhm. Amazing. So Unwind AI is providing you with a baseline to proceed, as well as it is providing you or opening the scopes of innovation ahead, with the condition that you can, use this baseline with any. You can connect this baseline with any of your other use cases further, other than the use case it has been built on, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And we don't
Yeah.
even patent the code, right? Lot of people who create these kind of agent applications, they keep it closed
Mm-hmm.
source. Now, if you have to use
Mm-hmm.
that, you either have to pay them, you have to, or if you have a use case, you need to go through them. So you go to that
Mm-hmm.
agency and you tell them this is our use case. They'll charge you $50,000 and $1,000. Do it for your use case, right?
Right.
Uh,
Right.
but we put it all open source with MIT license, so you can just take our code, build with it, do whatever you want with it. I really don't have any ownership with that. I don't even get a
Mm-hmm.
single penny out of it, right?
Okay.
That's one of the key differentiators. So it's not like this
Mm-hmm.
is only us who are doing it, but I would take pride in that we are doing it all open source and from the very start, from the very beginning. Because I've seen other people building cool stuff, but then it's behind paywall. You need to go and ask them for access, and access
Mm-hmm.
comes with certain terms and conditions. And then if you need
Correct.
to build something out of it, like you need to go and pay them or use their specific services to get that bill. So that's
Mm-hmm.
something that we remove from our side. For the end users, it's all for free and open source.
So just last
Mm-hmm.
week, I received an email on Unwind AI's email that I there was this user, I don't remember his name, that I just came across your audio tour uh, agent application, and can I please use it to build my own app? And I
Hmm.
replied that it is completely open source, it's free, feel free to use it. And whenever you have built a nice app out of it, just please share it on social media and tag UnwindAI so we can share it further with our community also, so more people can use
Hmm.
your app. And that person
Hmm.
replied, thank you so much, you made my day, this is exactly what I wanted. That is
Okay.
the entire point of it. Like, we tell you what is possible with AI, and you build upon it, you
Hmm.
tweak it for your use case, you enhance it. We will also give you suggestions for how you can enhance it. You
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
build really good, usable applications, usable tools that people will derive value out of.
Hmm. 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 And right, right. And what I feel is that the concept of open source is very important when the AI is advancing day by day, because people should understand from very valid sources how AI is working, what are the factors that that is making AI smarter day by day. So for that to understand, it is very important for the backend process to be open source, so that people could go through the documentation, go through the code, and just understand what is going on behind the scenes, and can modify it according to them, so that they can produce more and more use cases out of it. So I believe open source is a very good medium to educate people around, and provide knowledge to whoever is interested in AI. This is interesting, actually. So I actually had this question, since we were talking about your real estate agent uh, right now. I want to ask, what kind of impact do you foresee these AI agents having on real estate and investment spaces? Like, what kind of impact it might leave, or what kind of impact it might bring in the near future on the real estate and investment space, according to you?
Yeah, I feel going forward, things will become much more optimized, personalized,
Mhm.
and customized going forward, right? As I mentioned, if
Mhm.
I need to search for an apartment, I can select those filters. I can go through the websites. I can scroll through number of options, or I can just tell my specific requirements to my agent. Let's say, assuming 5 years down the line, or maybe 3 years down the line, all I need to do, either I call or text on WhatsApp. This is what I need. I'll start doing something else in the background. An agent team process will kick off. Just like I would call up broker and say, "Hey, I need this apartment, XYZ location. These are my conditions or requirements. I have this big family, this budget, blah blah blah." Whatever I need to say, either I call an agent or I text an agent. When I say agent, there's an AI agent. Now we are talking about it. Those are like two different
Yeah,
agents.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I,
Yeah.
I, I tell the agent, text an AI agent on WhatsApp. I need XYZ things. I start working on the other stuff. Few hours later, I get four suggestions on my WhatsApp from
Hmm.
different websites. So wherever it has to come from, like scrape the entire internet and gave me four suggestions, out of which
Hmm.
I like the first one or second one. And I ask again, I text the agent, okay, can you schedule an appointment for me? That's it. Again, I'll start working on my stuff. I get the appointment already added to my calendar. It's all, there's a lot happening on the back end, right? When we are saying it, it might sound so simple, but then an agent is really going and looking at the websites.
Right.
Multiple agents are hopping from one to another to really refine the listings to suit your conditions, because out of 500 you are getting four options that's the most suitable for you. That's the real intelligence that we are talking about, right? It's
Hmm.
simulating the entire human process, simulating multiple jobs in a matter of hours. Then it's acting as your EA when you ask that agent to schedule an appointment, put it on your calendar. It's all happening automatically. It's looking at your availability, it's looking at your schedule when you're free. And then the agent also knows about me, when I would like to go and visit for a home tour, and when I would like to go and like work on other stuff, right? What's my work time, what's my personal time, based on that schedules the appointment. All I need, and I get the appointment scheduled on my calendar. I get an automated reminder set up. So I get a reminder on weekend, you have these 2 3 appointments for the apartment that you like, I directly go like from my requirements to appointment, the time that would take a normal human team or normal human brokers, days and days of work, or maybe a week or two, agent just did it in one day. Next day I go and look at the homes, and very next day if I have to finalize, if I have something, I'm communicating directly to an AI agent that's communicating on my behalf to the backend team, to the either the lender,
Mhm.
to the other brokers in the systems, and stuff like
Mhm.
that. They're communicating on my behalf, and for me it's all automated. I have a single source of contact, a single point of contact. I'm just talking to an AI agent. I go look at the
Mhm.
apartment. If I finalize, I'll just say finalize at this amount. Everything again
Mhm.
happens on the back end, and I get an apartment. So
Mhm.
what used to take like 2 weeks, 4 weeks of time now could be
Correct.
done in 2 days, and in such a smooth way where I do not have to share my numbers to 10 brokers. I do not have to talk to them. I do not have to like spend 10, 20 hours of my time finding the right house that I would need based on my
Mhm.
preference, based on what my liking and my requirement. An agent team really replicated all of that in the background and saved me hours and hours of time. That's
Hmm.
just one example of how the space is gonna change, how rapidly the space is gonna change
Hmm.
going forward. But
Hmm.
the future that I see is agents. Think you can think of agents as human workers. It might not completely replace all the human jobs, but agent would become capable of acting as a human worker. Think of each
Hmm.
agent. If you have 10 people in your organization, you can think of a 10 agent team. Each agent can at least simulate or assist the work of that human. Or
Hmm.
the best possible way to put it, at least in short to mid term, would be every one of us would have an agent assistant, right? So you are doing
Hmm.
this podcast, you could create a podcast agent that might not take your job, maybe in some time in the future, but at least like sit, at least sit with you.
I'm
That could
not
be
a little uncomfortable with that sentence.
no. So
No, I think
I, I
that's
can I
something
can
which is talked about a lot now. So we'll come to that. Yeah, please continue.
Yeah.
I can keep going in as many details, as much details as you want, and keep talking about this concept for hours and hours because I think about it a lot, right? And a
Right.
utopian, or I don't know what, like some people think it's a
Hmm.
utopian future, some people think it's a dystopian future, where it will be Agent Shubham talking to Agent Afzal and Agent Kaf. We'll this podcast, but it will be our agents
Mhm.
doing the podcast and agents publishing it, agents doing it on your behalf. That's a very realistic future from where we stand today. Is what I would want to communicate. If that would happen or
Hmm.
not, I do not know. Nobody knows. But that's very realistic. Even with the tools that I have today, we can replicate this. Like if we
Yeah.
put like a week effort, we can create our
Hmm.
agents. We can use video generation model. I can have my agents, and we can have them like talk to each other. We can record up. It's already happening, right? It's already done. Like even seen like some demos on X where people go and uh, talk to their virtual avatars, and then they record this podcast and put it out there. But going
Hmm.
forward, is in short to mid term, each human would have an agent assistance for the work that they are doing. If
Hmm.
and that would, even that, without even completely replacing human from the loop, even that would optimize the work that we do whole as a humanity by a very huge extent, by a very uh, big extent. Because if I did not have AI or agents
Hmm.
with me, I
Hmm.
would not be
Hmm.
able to do 50% of work that I do today, right? So it's
Hmm.
AI assisted work is where we are moving towards, or agent assisted workforce or work culture is where we are moving towards. There is no
Hmm.
harm in admitting that. Like we really need to go and embrace that. And even today with certain technology it is possible. Today if you're using something like that, you have an edge. Again, that's why things like Unwind AI, things like awesome LLM apps, repo, open source becomes really, really important. Like, how would you become
Hmm.
smart? Like, if you're working in a company, everybody else is working in the same company. How would you get ahead? What's that edge factor? Can you
Hmm.
have AI assist with your work. Now, it's not
Mm.
ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. Everybody is using that. What more can you do? Can you add an extra layer
Mm.
of? How would you know about that? That's where you go
Mm.
and Unwind AI and other like such newsletters. That's the value that we are trying to provide in this space, and this will be there. This will be relevant for at least next 2 to 4 years. Uh, so anybody who wants to get ahead of what they are already doing, anybody who is curious and want to do more than what they think they could do themselves, there is definitely ways and technology that exists even today to make that happen.
Mhm.
And future
Mhm.
is inevitable. That's definitely gonna happen. If people would not adapt, whoever would not adapt to that would become very
Mhm.
difficult for them to be a part of the workforce, because
Mhm.
the work is gonna get super optimized. We are gonna do so much more. Like for
Mhm.
example, you got the podcast, then you'll do 10, 20 other things in the same day. So just the number of things that
Mhm.
human is about to become superhuman with AI is
Yeah.
how I
Mhm.
would summarize and end this.
Yeah, just to add one more,
Mhm.
this entire conversation reminded me of a tweet that Sam Altman did. In
Yeah.
2026, there will be the first $1 billion one person company.
Company. Yeah,
Yeah.
one person company. Right, right.
It's all about a multi-agent company where there is a proper hierarchy of AI agents, just like humans, and then there will be just one person who is supervising the entire thing. That is how
Mhm.
optimized and amazing anything will be. So you just need to
Mhm.
have an idea, and you just need to know how to build it and sell it. And there is
Mhm.
nothing that you will be able to do. Everything will
Mhm.
be driven and optimized by AI agents. You just need to know how to delegate the work, how to supervise them. And you can really
Mhm.
build big businesses without thinking that, okay, probably this is one skill that my team is lacking, or this is something I do not know. You probably won't need to care about it at all.
Mhm. Mm-hmm. So, since we have had so much discussions about AI agents and their advancements, I just have one question. Should my uh, should my real estate brothers out there, should they be threatened with this innovation, or should they be excited that they are going to be superhumans with the help of AI? So, what is your take on this? Should they be concerned that their job is being done very easily by AI, or should they be more excited that, okay, I just have to set an agent and sit back and relax, and all my customers will be handled by my agent? What is your take on this?
I think there's nothing to be threatened about, right? And you can
Mm-hmm.
always like, well, very on a very personal level, it depends on person to person how you would want to take it. But there's
Mm-hmm.
definitely this is definitely something that is super exciting to see.
Mm-hmm.
I understand a lot of people might not embrace it, might see as a threat, but the other way to look at it is, and it's gonna happen irrespective, right? If I build it,
Right.
somebody else will build it. It was a ticking
Mm-hmm.
clock, and at some point it will stop, and there will be a blast. It's gonna happen, right?
Right.
Uh, the way to look at it is not being threatened, but really embrace this technology and be excited about it right now. What you could not do
Mm-hmm.
before, now you could do with AI agents. Let's say you have like 10 clients or 20 clients that want personalized, customized service, and you are like one broker or one agent. You cannot really cater to everyone, right? Then you would automatically select your top three biggest clients where you're getting more money, or like the biggest ones, bigger ones with the bigger ticket size. But what happens to the
Mm-hmm.
ones who are at the middle, at the end of the spectrum? They came to
Mm-hmm.
you same kind of personalized, customized services, but as a human, you're limited by what you can and cannot do with your time. You have limited time, you have limited number of hours, and you can cater to limited number of people. But with this kind of solution in place, and I'm just taking an example, right? It could go anything, but just with what we have built and the kind of solution that would be here in this case, is now you can
Mm-hmm.
really customize and personalize and provide the same level of services to all your clients, standardize your
Mm-hmm.
service across clients. all of your clients could get personalized services, all of them could be happy, all of them could get a home or apartment that they would want. They would still come to you, but then you can use this kind of technology to really come up with suggestions or personalizations or those like personal touches that you could not before. Because as a broker, you would not go and research about your client, like how much you'll just do whatever the client would tell you. But AI can do so much more. AI knows so much
Yeah.
more, can go
Yeah.
above and beyond to really cater that personalized proposal. You both come to me and I have just time for one. I could either cater to CAF or I could either cater to upsell. Now, as a human broker, I am more favorable to catering to the one with the bigger ticket size. If you come to me with the proposal that you want to buy a 5 crore apartment, and if you come to me with the proposal that you want to buy like 25 lakh plot or an apartment, something like that, I would definitely cater to the one with the 5 crore
5 crore.
ask.
Yeah.
That's where I'm gonna
Mm.
make the biggest commission or get the biggest commission from.
Exactly.
Right.
But with this kind of solution in place, I can give you both standardized service and still save my time to grow my business. So previously, where
Mm.
a broker could handle like 5 clients or 10 clients, because population is growing, demand is increasing, there is no doubt in that. They can really sit back, leave the basics to AI agents, and think about growing and scaling their businesses. So it's not an opportunity or it's not a time where AI agents will take their job or not. It's an opportunity
Mm.
for them to embrace technology and really grow and expand their businesses. So it's completely 180 degree of what discussions has been around happening around, right?
Mm.
AI is not going to
Mm.
take your jobs. AI is
Mm.
AI is definitely going to take jobs of people who are not going to embrace AI, right?
Yeah. We're not going
People
to
who
leverage it.
people who will not use AI will definitely take their job. No doubt in that.
Mm.
But people who will use
Mm.
AI or understand, who will understand, use, and embrace AI
Mm.
is gonna be a force multiplier for them. Like if you're doing 1x business, going forward you can do
Mhm.
10x business. With better
Mm.
services, with more standardized offerings, with more professional services, you can 10x your business. And that's what
Mm.
AI can do. It's more
Mm.
of your perspective of looking at these things. It's like pre-internet and post-internet. Will internet take
Mhm.
our jobs? uh, Same thing, like brokers would have this pivotal moment at that point in time. Okay, we have been doing it manually, now you have these like all broking real estate websites, you will put everything in there. Will that take our job? Because now everyone will just go to internet and find the house and directly go to the owner or the lender, right? Why would they even come to the broker? Same thing is happening with AI, but at a much bigger scale. Now, AI
Mm.
could really be seen as an opportunity for you to expand your business rather than being threatened about it. So it's completely up to people how they look at this thing, how they want to embrace it, do they want to ignore and neglect it. If they ignore and
Mm.
neglect it, definitely in a few years it will take their job. But if they embrace it today, if they start looking at understanding, at least understanding, embracing it, entertaining the idea today, it could
Mhm.
definitely and it definitely will act as a force multiplier for their businesses. Would definitely help them
Mm.
scale the business. Soon in the
Mhm.
future, people, if they can automate this basic process, they'll be able to better manage their time and they can invest that time to scale their businesses, grow from 100 to 500 and 1,000 clients that they could not humanly serve before AI. So that's the way to
Mm.
look at it, according to me at least.
Mm. Mhm. Interesting. So, if they want to be in the race, what they have to do is that they should leverage AI in order to make their progress 10x, right? And they should not just sit back and wait for AI to take their whole ecosystem away from them. They should leverage AI instead to maximize their gains, to maximize their customer services, to maximize their business, right?
Yeah, at least be open to
Yeah.
the idea of leveraging AI or
Yeah.
letting AI
Right.
enter into their workspace, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a mindset shift, right? Nobody just leverages AI or ignores AI without the right mindset. You could have either have a mindset where you could be threatened, really threatened by, oh, what's this cool new shiny thing that's going to come up and take my job? Or you can be open to, oh, this is a new technological advancement that's anyway going to happen, just like internet happened or landlines or telephones happen. It will happen. How can I be prepared for this? You do not really need to implement it today, but how can I be prepared to implement this in the next 2, 3, 4 years? Just being open to
Hmm.
that idea
Hmm.
really makes your business more flexible, more adaptable, and future ready. To make your
Right.
business future ready, you really just need to be open to this idea of AI being used for what you can use it for today. You really don't need to become an agency that does everything in an automated way today. Might not be very feasible today, but you really need to be at least need to be open to the idea of this happening in the next 6 months, 8 months, 2 year timeline, right? So that open,
Hmm.
either somebody could be open and grow, or have an open mindset and grow, or somebody could be threatened by it and be completely wiped out with this AI wave or AI revolution.
Hmm. Hmm. Interesting, interesting point of view. So, I, so my question is from Gargi. I want to know your perspective on the intersection of finance and AI. What do you think this fusion, where this fusion can head in the near future? Because you are a perfect example of, of a person who's coming from a finance background, who's coming from specifically from a non-technical background and adapting in the AI world so well. So I want to know, what is your take on this? Where do you see this finance and AI symbiosis leading in the future?
Okay, this space is already very exciting. Like AI
Mm-hmm.
has transcended into every industry, and
Mm-hmm.
um, finance is not it's actually very much penetrated by AI. Now we can see a whole lot of finance functions that are being automated, not
Mm-hmm.
completely yet, but at
Mm-hmm.
least like 40-50%. So you can take like credit underwriting, insurance underwriting, cyber security, risk mitigation, compliances. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know how the recent tariff changes have been implemented by the US.
Right. Right.
AI is actually being used very heavily to, for example, simulate what the interest rates would look like, what the inflation or recession scenarios will be, what should be
Mm-hmm.
our, for example, pricing strategies in case of
Mm-hmm.
different uh, scenarios. Who
Mm-hmm.
should we optimize our supply chains? Who should
Mm-hmm.
be we sourcing our material from? For example, the suppliers in this country will be tariffed more than this one. Probably we need
Mm-hmm.
to change our suppliers. So a whole lot of things are already being optimized, and definitely there is more scope for that. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think the prime example would be customer support. There was this recent news item that I was reading about Bank of America. So,
Mm-hmm.
they have already automated their 50% customer support by this AI assistant called Erica. And
Mm-hmm.
50% is a very, very big number. So, just
Right. Right.
imagine thousands of hours and the resources on employees that that bank is saving by using an AI agent customer support that is not just understanding what the person on the other end is saying, but is also executing tools and making things happen for that client, or probably rerouting to a real customer support person only when it is not able to handle what the client is trying to say or what the client is requesting.
Mm-hmm.
So this is already just finance is actually exploded with AI already, and there's a lot more that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Even I think JP Morgan also has some AI integration that they recently did. I'm not exactly sure about this. I read it somewhere, but JP Morgan has started integrating AI into their financial situations, I think. So, as you said, AI is has already entered the finance sector and is overtaking the jobs, the complex things. All right. So, what I really want to know is that, how, according to you, how much finance professionals are adaptive to this AI revolution, and so let's keep it very straight. Do you believe finance professionals should become more AI literate than they are right now?
Oh, definitely. So it
Okay.
is a very common saying, and it is going to be very true that, like
Hmm.
Shubham said, AI is not going to replace you. The person using AI will definitely replace you. So this
Correct.
goes
Yeah.
for people in finance profession as well. So for example, you are an investment strategist, so who is putting out reports and recommendations on companies to invest.
Hmm.
See, if you were not using AI, you would take hours and hours on digging information on that company from micro level, macro level, fundamental level, technical aspects. But when you are using an AI, probably even better when it's optimized for this particular work, just think about your productivity, the quality of work, and how it is going to again augment you, not replace you, but going to augment you in your decision making. So, for
Hmm.
example, you were able to publish one recommendation report. Now you will be able to do 10 reports a day with the same quality, or even with an enhanced quality. It will give you points or strategies which probably, being a human mind, you could have missed. So
Hmm.
AI is there to support your decision making. It is
Hmm.
going to be a person who is not using AI will definitely be kicked out of the job.
Hmm. That is actually a strong statement. So, if that is so, if that is the case, how should finance professionals start their journey to become enough AI literate so that they don't get kicked out of the jobs?
I mean, actually, that was a very strong statement, but I actually believe very much in it.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
people right now can really start using all these like AI assistants like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, which are out there available for free. There is,
Hmm.
for example, deep research by Google, which is available like 2 to 3 deep research requests that you can do for free daily. So start with tools like that and see what part of your work can be optimized more by AI. So just think about it. What are the different things in your workflow that you do? Target those
Hmm.
specific workflows and use AI tools to optimize those particular things in your entire workflow.
Hmm.
So yeah, use a general purpose agent or a general purpose AI tool, and then think about it programmatically. Like how can you optimize your workflow or parts of your workflow using specific AI tools? One can be for drafting, one can be for research, one can be for creating
Hmm.
PPTs, for example. One can be for like creating diagrams. So just think about the different parts of your workflow and then automate them and optimize your work.
Hmm. 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 Nice. Actually
Nice,
good.
nice. So, guys, just a time check here. We are at 1 hour 32 minutes. So, we hope you guys have time as we are in this job, so we can continue with that. But again, if you have some time constraint, then we'll go for the important questions only. So, we have, I think, 4 questions left. So, just wanted to
I
check
think,
with you.
yeah, I think let's take two. I might need to leave for other meetings, so let's
Yeah,
try
Okay.
to wrap it in 10-15 minutes.
absolutely fine.
Okay.
So, we'll cut
Good.
this off from the live podcast. So, just to
So,
Yeah.
great. So, so one question
Yeah.
uh, with respect
Yeah. Yeah.
to
Please.
the productivity to Shubham. Actually, I heard like you mentioned you have been scrolling through Twitter and then you have been finding out different contents, and as we see nowadays, sitting on social media and then scrolling through these contents, whether it is, although I understand you are going through Twitter, not the reels and all, but still it takes a lot of time and lot of diversions are there in your mind, like you are bombarded with lot of information, and with that information how do you keep yourself writing 2 books, you have written 2 books, on one on GPT, one on neural search, So these type of work are deep work, and you have been building agents also. So how do you manage to find out time for this?
Yeah, simple and short answer is AI. Like having AI assist you in all kind of work streams that you are a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to being on social media, right? So it is a very different experience. So it is very different for me compared to how general people would use it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
My Twitter feed or my X feed does not reflect information from any and every source, right? It is very
Mm.
curated for your feed. I follow very specific people in the industry that I like, that I care about, that I would like to hear from. So social media for me personally is a learning experience. Every time I open social media, every time I open X or LinkedIn, I see something that adds to my knowledge base, that adds to my mental curiosity and intellectual capacity. I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing
Mm.
content that's
Mhm.
relevant for me and my field. So it's all, again, it's all connected, right? You can't look at these things in isolation. What I learn on social media, I learn about these specific things. I learn about AI, LLMs, RAG, AI agents. I get connected and I get posts from the people who are posting that kind of stuff. And again, this happens over time. If you start following those people, if you start liking those posts, your For You stream becomes very, very curated
Mm-hmm.
to reflect
Mhm.
or to showcase those kind of posts. So whenever I am on X, I am not wasting a lot of time, not distracted by any random post that's occurring. Even if they occur, you can always train the algorithm. So these are, you have to think about social media as algorithm that should work for you, not against you,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And you are in,
Mhm.
people do not understand this, but they are in control. If you're liking something that you should not like in the first place, then you are giving control to the algorithm. You're giving more control to the algorithm. You are consenting to show you more such posts. If you're liking something that is a violent content, if you're liking something that you should not like in the first place, you're giving consent to algorithm to show you 10 more such content. But if you really like to use social media in the productive way possible, of course everybody has different reason to use social media. Someone would just use it for entertainment purposes, but the way it works for me, it's a productivity tool.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mhm.
would not, I think you would not find a lot of people say that social media is a productivity tool. They will say it's a productivity killer, right? And that is something that takes them from the work. But again, it's all about perspectives, and I get philosophical at times. But it's all about perspective, like how you use something. Everything has its pros and cons. So the way
Mm.
I use X in LinkedIn, they act as my source. They act as a way for me to communicate with my community, to communicate with the founders out there, to communicate with the builders, right? What they are building, what kind of companies that they are working on, what's the new and latest that's coming out, what's new that's getting released. All of that, like these social media platforms act as a source of information for me. That feeds into the other part of work that I do. So when you write a book, you really need to know what's happening around, right? That's how
Mm.
it connects. Or like when you're doing one thing, it's connected to another, and then it's connected to another. Then you realize everything is connected, right? We live in a connected
Mm.
world, and it's on the person or it's on the individual to have to decide what kind of connections they would want to have, what kind of services they would want to have. It's available for everyone. Everyone can use it like that. But again, it's an individual choice of how you decide to use social media. So I
Mm.
don't see it as a distraction. I see it as an addition to my knowledge base or an addition to my intellectual curiosity, as a source of
Mm.
inspiration for me to write these things or to do more deeper work.
Mm. Interesting, interesting insight, Shubham. So, like, I just want to convey this thing to you. I was genuinely proud when I saw your Times Square moment on LinkedIn. I just went through the post and I saw that you were mentioned on Times Square. That felt really, really amazing. That representation itself brings a very amazing feeling to someone, right? To the one who's been represented. So how can you please explain me what was your experience when you came to know about this?
I mean, difficult to say, but it was a surreal experience, right? We living in India, like one thing that we always know from childhood is very few landmarks and places, right? But Times Square is
Right.
one of them. Everybody talks about Times Square, irrespective if you've been to US or not, however small
Mm-hmm.
you are. Like it's been talked about for a while, and seeing yourself on Times Square is, I won't lie, it's a surreal feeling. It was a really good experience. It was a proud moment for me. Uh, was a big surprise. I did not even know that I would be there. Like top mid guys surprised me there. Uh, but I feel like I believe like, and I would want this to act as an inspiration or motivation for people sitting in India, people or students, or even the high school students or college students, college graduates in India, because I want to take this like a minute or two to reflect back on my journey. Right, this is something that I would
Right.
not have imagined 6 years, 7 years ago. I come from
Correct.
a very small town in India. It's at the center of the country. It's called Sihor, that is near Bhopal. I studied in graduated from a college that not a lot of people would know about. So it was like tier two, tier three college. So me thinking about being featured on Times Square, was an impossible thing. But impossible things can also happen. So there's always hope. All you need to do is believe in yourself. Again, persistency is the key. If you're persistent, if you're consistent with your efforts, if you believe in what you are doing, if you like what you do, if you love what you do, things will work out. You really, I did not started with this as a result in my mind that I will be at Times Square one day. It all happened gradually, uh, over a time period, right? But what I
Mm-hmm.
want to convey for anybody who is listening to me, who's out there, like irrespective of where you come from, where you have studied, does not matter. If you believe in
Mm-hmm.
yourself, you can be at the top. Like you can be anywhere you want, and that has happened with me, and that's the only message that I want to convey. And I've
Mm-hmm.
been like super grateful with the people that I've come across. My parents, like Gargi, she has been supported me like throughout. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful and been lucky that way to have had like such great people in my life. And having seen that, like it has been a super proud moment, and it was a humbling moment to say the least.
Definitely, definitely. Actually, as an Indian, when I read your post, when I saw that video, I felt very, very proud that someone from our community, from AI community, he has been, represented at Times Square. So that was my personal question, because I felt really good when I read and watched that video. So I thought to ask this out. um I would like to conclude this podcast with this very question. Since I am an early age entrepreneur, I would say, like, my startup is in early stages, and there might be many entrepreneurs out there who are struggling, who are hustling to build something, who are trying to make a statement in the society, or trying to bring some change in the AI industry. What three key advices would you like to give to such entrepreneurs, so that they could use your advices and could make their work more efficient or more easier?
Yeah.
So I would like to add, just we can split the advices to, maybe Shubham, you can give one advice can be taken from Gargi. That will help.
Yeah. Anything works. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'd like to start.
Yeah.
People who have just started or who have some idea, build and ship. Just start shipping your product, whatever it is out there, because it will always be an iterative development. Once
Mm-hmm.
your, for example, version 1 is out, you are going to get feedback, you are going to iterate on it, and then you are going to improve your product. So just start building the minimal viable product and ship it
Mm-hmm.
out there. Not think that it will, the first version of my product will be the perfect thing, or I
Mm-hmm.
am going to earn like thousands of dollars from the first version of my product. It will be a long process. You have to be patient, you have to carefully have a feedback mechanism, because that is the most important. That is how you will
Mm-hmm.
improve your product. You have to just start, ship,
Mm.
and iterate, and definitely you are going to soon perfect your product. That is, doesn't matter how big or small your audience is, you will develop an audience for your product, and they will be loyal to you.
Mm.
So just start and ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's one of the key advice that I would give as
Right.
well. So I think it's very much related to thoughts that I have in mind, right? So I
Mm.
feel we waste a lot of time. I won't say waste, but we spend a lot of time thinking about what's that right idea, what's the right point, like is it good enough for me to start, like, or maybe like get like this white unicorn idea which nobody is thinking about. I would just like to bust this balloon that any
Mm.
idea you could think of, anybody, someone else in the world has either thought about it, implemented it,
Right.
succeeded at it, or failed at it. So there
Mm-hmm.
is no unique ideas. If you're waiting for unique idea, don't wait for that. Right? Never wait for a
Mm.
unique idea. Then this leads us to this execution more, execute more and think less, right? Execute more, ideate less. Spend less time ideating. Of course, you need like decent amount of time to ideate and come up with something that makes sense, but you cannot
Mm-hmm.
spend years just ideating and thinking, okay, at some point will be right time when I'll start and I'll have the kick-ass idea that would just be a huge success and make me a lot of money. So
Mm-hmm.
ideate less, execute more. Execution over ideation, right?
Yep.
That's
Mm-hmm.
one key advice. Then once you build, shipping is very, very important. Getting the product out is very important. As Gargi mentioned, right? Shipping
Mm.
more than anything else is very, very important. The third thing that I would want to add that a lot of people do not consider, especially in the tech and AI space, right? Building and shipping is one thing. You really need to know how to sell stuff as well. That's the key
Mm.
skill that's been missing in a lot of AI entrepreneurs. They are brilliant engineers, they are brilliant techies, they know how to build stuff. But the key reason why a lot of these AI startups or tech startups fail is they do not know how to monetize this. They build the most
Mm.
coolest, best product out there, but without any idea of who the customers are, how to monetize it, how to make it a sustainable business. So selling should go alongside building. You cannot just think about building a product that does not have any uh, revenue or that does not have any sales revenue. So selling should go hand in hand with building. We talked about three things: less time ideating, more time execution. Once you build something, ship it out there. Don't wait for it to don't wait for it to be perfect. Selling should go hand in hand with building. And I'll add
Mm-hmm.
a bonus advice that always go everywhere, which is persistency and consistency. As an it
Mm-hmm.
is a very, very difficult field
Yeah.
to be an AI entrepreneur or a tech entrepreneur, right? Everybody wants to do that. That's the coolest, shiniest thing. That's the best place to be. And that's what
Right.
people hear from outside. But once you're inside,
Mm.
that's the worst place to be, right? You've
Mm.
been working for 4 hours, you're not getting anything out of it. The light is very far. The light is like at the far end of the tunnel. You don't get to see it till you put a lot of work into it. So if you can have persistency and consistency, we can make incremental steps. Again, building, shipping, and selling is a part of that. That is the incremental step. That's how you get incremental feedback. So
Mm-hmm.
building, shipping, getting incremental feedback, and persistently doing it over a certain period of time. If you can do that, that then only it makes sense for you to be an AI entrepreneur. Otherwise, it's a very, very, very difficult place to be in. Otherwise, it's just better if you stick to a job or something that's easier. But if you want to get into that, you be better be ready for this kind of grind. It is a grinding. It is a lot of grinding, and it's a part of culmination of these three things.
Mm-hmm. Superb advice. Actually, I for a moment I was very much hooked up with what you were saying, and I learned a lot with the very last thing that you said. Actually, it was actually a very insightful conversation that we had. Those all the questions and all the answers that you gave, those answers has added, you know, much value than anyone can even expect. So thank you, both of you guys, for
Thank you.
sharing the Unwind AI journey with us, for sharing your experiences with us, your unique collaboration to the future of AI through this podcast, and building Unwind AI, you know, educating people about AI agents. All this effort is definitely packed with golden takeaways. So I expect the viewers are going to take a lot from this podcast, from a lot from the discussion, and they're going to learn, definitely going to learn a lot from this conversation. Thank you so much for being on the AI Bros show. I hope viewers watch this podcast till end, and definitely check out Unwind AI. Follow Shubham and Gargi for daily digestible insights in the world of AI. And of course, follow us as well, because we also do some good work in the AI. And that's it. Thank you so much. I would like to conclude the podcast over here.
Thank
Thank you,
you. Thank you
Thank
guys.
for
you
Thank you for
so
doing
much.
Thank
this.
you, guys.